All right, episode number 6 of my Out of the Park Baseball 18 franchise series with the Miami Marlins. It is Sunday, November 26th, 2017. This is the second part of the 2017 offseason. You see the free agents filed today. But before we go on, I want to announce one more trade that I made. I actually just made it before I started recording this video. So you'll recall that Marcell Ozuna was one of our arbitration players, and his arbitration estimate was $6 million. I believe the exact estimate was $6,050,000. So based on the fact that our player payroll this year has to be pretty low, around $80 million, I didn't want to commit, close to an eighth of that for just one player. So I decided to trade him in the division, unfortunately, but I decided to trade him to the Atlanta Braves. I traded him and a couple lower-level prospects to the Braves for Micah Johnson, who can play either second or left for us. I haven't decided yet, as well as AJ Minter and Caleb Dirks, who Minter, he's, depending on who you ask, he's normally one of the Braves' top 30 prospects, as is Dirks, but they're not high-level prospects. Like, they're not top 10, top 15, even top 20. Those guys are really low on the list, but I decided to just try to get them. I didn't want to, go too over the top, but Micah Johnson, I decided to get him because I don't want to say he fell out of favor, but when you have a middle infield of Dansby Swanson and Ozzie Albies, you don't really need a guy like Micah Johnson on your roster. So I decided to trade them Ozuna, who still has a couple more years of team control ahead of him. And, I thought this was an okay trade. Obviously, you try to do the best that you can given the circumstances, and the circumstances this year, they're a little tougher than normal. So unfortunately, we had to send him in the division. So we're going to have to face him probably for a while, unless he leaves when he hits free agency. But we'll see. But speaking of free agency, it is the free agency day. So the biggest names on this year's market include JD Martinez, Marco Estrada, Carlos Gonzalez, John Lackey, Ian Kinsler, Jeremy Hellickson, Michael Pineda, Matt Holliday, Eduardo Nunez, and Wade Davis. So definitely some very intriguing names on the market. Now, I'm not going to be really in on a lot of these guys because of the fact that I don't really have a ton of money to work with, and I kind of want to save that money for future use. So I'm not going to be in on a lot of the top guys. I'm really just going to make, lower, tier signings. Now, the international free agents enter the market, so let's just see if there's anyone interesting here. Typically, there's usually like one guy that stands out above all the rest in there. He's a closer. And other than that, no. So the big guy is this guy, the closer, Sang Bang. He's a South Korean. He is 27 years old, a 4-star pitcher with the potential, to be 4.5. He's solid defensively. Now he could actually be a starter if he had like a third pitch, but as you see, he only has a fastball and a slider to work with, which isn't bad. This guy could be a very good relief pitcher for someone, not for us, because his contract demand is $5.6 million. So we're not going to be in on this guy, but it'll be interesting to see how his career goes. I'm definitely going to keep tabs on him. Also, as you see, we signed Zach Wheeler and Miguel Rojas to extensions. We got Rojas for 1 year, $800,000, and we got Wheeler for $1.25 million. Now, of course, Wheeler's going to be out for at least a month at the start of the season, but having said that, let's take a look and delve into first our rosters and transactions, and more specifically our pitching rotation. So as you can see, and we're not going to be using a 6-man rotation, we're going to be using a 5-man rotation. So we're going to put, we're going to put Kazmir in the rotations. Right now, Kazmir is going to be our 1, and this is, assuming that, Wheeler's going to be out for 5 more months. So you figure he's out for 5 more months. So you figure December, January, February, March. So there's an outside chance he could be back by, early April, but I'm not counting on it. So, Wheeler will be our 1 when he gets back, but as of right now, it'll be Kazmir. And then not much else. So we still have Despain, so he can slot in as the 2. We have Nicolino. He can slot in as the 3. So right now, if we take a look at our rosters and transactions, we do need some starting pitchers. Is there anyone on the... So there's no one on our 40-man. Of course, our 40-man only has 16 guys on it right now. And apparently Austin Nola is now a catcher. I don't know how that happened, but I guess he switched positions, so now he's a catcher. He was a middle infielder, so I'm just seeing. So we don't really have any starting pitchers in our system right now. We have Brian Ellington, so he could be a potential bullpen guy. He's an extreme fly ball pitcher. Brandon Cuniff, he could be another bullpen guy that we can use to save some money. He's about ready to come up. He's not going to get any better, and he did all right back in AAA. So 67.2 innings. He had a 3.33 ERA. That's not terrible. So We might look at Cuniff to fill out our bullpen, but looking at our bullpen right now, we have David Phelps, Nick Whitgren, Junichi Tazawa, Hunter Cervenka. Ziegler will be back, so he'll be back around the same time I imagine Wheeler will be. So Wheeler will definitely be in the rotation at some point. So we need at least one starting pitcher, if not two, it would seem. Now, looking at the lineups, I think I'm actually going to put Tellez on the Major League roster just because, like, he's about ready. He played in Toronto although I'm trying to think. So, yeah, so his expectation is playing in the majors. So I think, like, the only way I think he's going to get better is if he takes these Major League at-bats. So, yeah, I think I'm going to put Tellez on the active roster. Because now Tellez will slot in as our first baseman. And before I do that, actually, let me just clear all the lineups, clear all the depth charts. So Tellez is going to slot in as our first baseman for sure. Johnson, I'm not sure if I want to use him at second or left yet. Probably second. Or I don't. Yeah, I mean, we don't really have. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't be opposed to putting Den Decker in a starting role in left field, and then maybe Micah Johnson at second. But we definitely need a lot. Then Amarista, I guess, could play shortstop, supposedly. So we can put Amarista at short. So we definitely need a catcher. We definitely need a third baseman. And we definitely need a center, two more outfielders, a center fielder and a right fielder. Or we could always put Johnson in left and Decker in center or right. And we could just get a second baseman. So there's a lot of things that we need this offseason. Now, Brian Anderson seems like... Yeah, so he's almost ready, I think. So he might see some time here in 2018. I'd like him to get in some time at AAA first, but he might see some time. Let's see. Now here's Dylan Peters, so he might see some time this year as well. I'm just trying to see here. This guy, Drew, who is a Steckenrider, he might see some time. He has 2+ pitches and a changeup, so I think... If he can prove to be a little better in AAA, that would be nice. Now, you see, he's in the Pacific Coast League, so for those of you that don't know, the Pacific Coast League, it tends to inflate numbers for both batters and pitchers. So a pitcher with, like, a 6.29 ERA, right? Like, he's still bad, but the number's inflated just a little bit. So, if he can show some improvement this year, he'll definitely see some time on the Major League roster this year. We're going to see a lot of young guys in the Major Leagues this year. We're going to call up a lot of the youngins just because we're not really playing for much this year. Who's this? Radel Lazo. Here's another guy. Yeah, so we have a lot of bullpen options down in the minor leagues, that's for sure. But having said that, let's just go to the offseason center. And I saw Jake Arrieta's name. I don't know if that means he's available or... Okay, so Arrieta is available. Of course, we're not going to be in on him, but... Arrieta's available, McCutcheon's available, Beltran, Eric Hosmer. Just trying to see any names here that weren't on that 10-man list. So, okay. So let's just see like some free agents that maybe this team can afford. So I'm just going to click on Alvarez. So if I offer this guy a contract, so we have about $24 million or $27 million, I guess, because he would want $3 million. So we have roughly $27 million for free agents this year. Which I can definitely work with. Before I couldn't really do much, but now I can work with that. So I'm going to cut out here. I'm going to try to, make a list of guys that I would like to try to get on the team. And then I'll come back when I receive some news, hopefully signings or just guys I wasn't able to sign. I'll come back with that type of stuff. So just sit tight. Hopefully I will be back soon. All right, so we are back. You see, it is Saturday, December 16th, still 2017. Now, I did make a few front office moves along with free agency. So I got Theo Epstein to be my scout. You see his scout ratings, good, excellent, and outstanding, much better than my previous scout. So I got him in, and I also needed a new team trainer, So I got Stan Conti. He was the best available that I could have gotten. So he signed on with us for several years. You see, through 2021, Epstein will be with us through 2022. So we improved those facets of our front office. Now, in terms of free agency, as I said, I was only going to make low-tier signings. I wasn't going to sign anyone big. So let's just go to the bottom here. So I signed these two guys here to minor league contracts. They seem to have some type of potential. So I decided to just sign them. Outfielder Carlos Garcia and catcher Juan Zabala. So they're only 18 years old, so I believe, so both of them are 18 years old. So hopefully, in several years, we'll see them, making their way through our minor league system. But in terms of the major leagues, we signed shortstop Jordy Mercer to a 1-year, $1,070,000 deal. We signed left fielder Ben Revere to a 1-year, $2.6 million contract. We signed infielder Leroy Garcia to a 1-year, $909,000 contract. We signed starting pitcher Drew Smiley to a $2.6 million a year offer for the next 3 years. The third year is a team option. We also signed outfielder Leonis Martin to a 1-year deal worth $1.07 million. And if we scroll up just a little bit, we also signed outfielder Desmond Jennings to a 1-year, $3.4 million contract. Because he was the most expensive free agent that we signed this year was Jennings. So that's that. And then for catchers, I was looking at Martin Maldonado and Chris Iannetta, and they both favor my offer. So most likely within the next couple of days here, they will sign. So I obviously, you'd like to go in on some of the bigger guys. And speaking of that, I should tell you that when Marco Estrada went to the Philadelphia Phillies for $46 million. All right, that's definitely interesting. But Jake Arrieta went to the Houston Astros for a 6-year contract that was worth, I believe, $144 million, give or take. So Jake Arrieta is no longer a Chicago Cub and is the Rule 5 draft. Whoops. And we have the 2nd overall pick. So we'll see if there's anyone worth taking here. Ideally, I'd like to get maybe like a nice pitcher, but I'll go into that in a second. So let me just make sure that actually, I can just go to continue Rule 5 draft. So just make sure that none of my good guys are available. So here we go. So Sean Reed Full is available. So I have to add him to the 40-man. So place on the 40. This guy's available, so we're going to place him on the 40-man roster. Nick Birdie is available, so we're going to place him on the 40-man roster. So basically, for those of you that don't know what the Rule 5 draft is, because I've actually seen a couple of comments from people saying, oh, I actually don't watch baseball, but I'm really enjoying your series, or I've gotten the game, something of that nature, which I think is awesome. It's really cool to see people that don't even watch the sport just get interested in the series and start learning the game. It's really awesome. By the way, if you are one of those people, and if you ever have any questions, just don't be afraid to ask. I would love to respond and help you out. But the Rule 5 draft, basically, after a certain period, prospects are eligible for this Rule 5 draft, and if they are not placed on the 40-man roster, they are eligibly picked in this draft. Now, the interesting thing about this draft, like let's say I picked this guy, Jimmy Cordero, right? So I would pick him, and he would be on my active roster, so I would see him right here on my pitching staff. He would show up right here. Now, the interesting thing is I can't send that guy to the minor leagues or anything like that. He has to stay on my roster for the entire season, or he has to be offered back to his previous team. So that's why, for any Phillies fans out there, when we selected Tyler Goodell last year, even though he wasn't, that great, he was all right, especially for that stretch where he got to play really consistently for about a month until Pete McCann just decided to put Cody Ashe in instead of Goodell for whatever stupid reason. Goodell, we didn't have the ability to send him down to the minors, even though he could probably use a little more experience down there. We had to keep him on our roster the entire year. So that's why you also saw, if you were a Phillies or even just a baseball fan, Goodell got sent down to Double-A, I believe a couple days ago, despite having played in the major leagues all of last year. That's the reason why he couldn't be sent down. It's one of the rules of the Rule 5 draft. So just looking here, let me just make sure there's no other guys here that I need to put on my 40-man. Oh, Caleb Dirks, I need to put him on there. So Dirks, I believe that's it. You don't need to put all of your prospects on here, but if they're, pretty high potential rating and a pretty high overall rating, it's typically a good idea just to be safe. And I don't think there's anyone else down here that I really need to worry about. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. So I think I'm good. If I lose anyone, then, it's my fault because I obviously didn't see him. But I think I'm pretty good. Let me just take a look at this Barrett Aston guy. So he's a guy that I would not be opposed to picking up, and he's extreme ground ball pitcher. That's really good. He did all right last year in AAA. He pitched to a 3.11 ERA, 1.23 WHIP. He has 2 solid pitches, an okay cutter, and a pretty bad changeup. So he's a guy I might look at. I don't know, though. It depends what Milwaukee does. So let's see what they do. So draft order, continue the Rule 5 draft, and we are going to advance. And now it is our pick. So did they pick anyone? Last pick, no pick. So Milwaukee did not pick anyone. So let's just sort by overall. You're not really looking for potential. I mean, I can't say that. if there's some guy here with like a 2-star overall, but like a 4.5-star potential, then maybe you take the risk on him. But when it comes to the Rule 5 draft, you're really not necessarily looking for potential. You're looking for a guy that can contribute this year. And Aston's an interesting case. I might take a look at him. Jake Buchanan, maybe? No. Maybe if I switch to all players, that would help. So let me see if there's anyone now. I don't know if I was just on all pitchers before, but okay, here we go. Wow. Dwight Smith. Oh, good Lord. I'm glad I switched to all players because I would have completely missed Dwight Smith. So place on the 40-man. Desmond Jennings, I got to place on the 40-man. So there we go. Actually, let me just be safe because I know with those acquisitions. Okay, yeah. So let me put Smiley on the active roster. Garcia, Jennings, Revere. Yeah, Revere wasn't on there. Martin wasn't on there. Mercer wasn't on there. Okay. So that's that. So now let's go back to the Rule 5 draft. Okay, now I think I might want to get Hatcher, actually. This guy seems like he could be something good. He is 32 years old, though. He's going to be making $2 million. Not that that's like a lot of money, but still. I don't think I'm going to pick anyone, unless this catcher is better than... Yeah, I mean, he's solid, but I don't think I really want to pick him. There's William Opeña, the homie. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to pick anyone in this Rule 5 draft. The only guys I was really looking at were Aston and who was the other guy? Aston and Hatcher. But I don't think I'm going to pick them. Who's this guy? Eric Fetty? Oh. Now he's going to be on another 8 to 9 weeks, but this is an interesting guy. I think I'm actually going to take this guy, Eric Fetty, or Fed. I'm not sure. I got to look up how to say his name. But he has pretty good ratings. The movement's not there yet, but I think I'm going to pick him. And he is going to be, so I'm going to go with, unless Nunez is better. Yeah, defensively, he's awful. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go with Eric Fetty. And so he's hopefully going to stick on our roster the entire year. That would be perfect. So now we're going to auto draft until the end of the draft because I'm not going to pick anyone else. And that is that. Now, can I take a look at the draft log by any chance? I'm sure there is. I just forget how to do it. So we got Eric Fetty. So now, as I mentioned, if you go to your rosters and transactions and pitching staff, there's Fetty right there. Now, he's going to slot into our starting rotation because we really need a starter. But we'll worry about that after we get Maldonado and Iannetta to sign. And it should be soon, I imagine. It can't take too much longer than that. And then after we get those two signed, I actually want to go through the Hall of Fame voting. So that's something I started doing in like my offline saves. It's actually pretty interesting. It's a neat aspect that they add to the game. You can vote. You can do your own ballot. So I think I'm definitely going to do that as we autoplay. Keep going. That is that. All right, so they're not going to sign. So I'm just going to do this Hall of Fame ballot right now. So let's see who is on the ballot for this year. Now, I'm not sure how much exactly my votes count. I don't know, like, how much they count for, but I just enjoy doing it. So, like, when it gets down to, like, 9 and 10, even lower than that, depending on the class, I might be a little biased. Like, I might just put Phillies in there at some point. Like, I'm definitely going to put, like, guys like Utley and Rollins and Howard in there at some point. Just, I'd like this to be a little fun. So, let's see. So, I'm definitely going to vote for Bonds. You see, there's my dog who's barking. So I don't want that to annoy you guys. So I'm just going to cut out right here and go see what she's barking at. Okay, I'm back. So it was the male person again, surprisingly. So as I said, Barry Bonds, 6th year. He's currently at 53.8%. That's what he was at last year. So I'm definitely going to vote for Bonds. I'm just scrolling through this really quickly, so it's not like I'm trying to skip anyone intentionally. Let's see here. So Mussina, I think I will vote for him. Hoffman for sure. So we're going to vote for Trevor Hoffman. Vlad Guerrero we're going to vote for. I'm going to move my mouse over a little bit so I don't keep hitting my case. Let's see here. Roger Clemens, I'll put him on here. Let's see. Let's put Julio Franco on there, right? Why not? We'll vote for Chipper. So Chipper Jones. There's Jimmy Moore. I gotta vote for him, right? I told you I'm gonna put Phillies on there. Schilling, he's an interesting case. Larry Walker. It seems like he's never gonna make it. Unfortunately, he had a solid career though. Let's see. Billy Wagner, that's an interesting case. Sammy Sosa, he's at 8.6%. Oof. So I just want to see. I'm going to put Musina on there. Moose. Let me see. I know I'm going to put Moyer on there, so I'll put Moyer. He's in his first year of eligibility. Let's see. Anybody else? John Lieber, former Philly. I'm not going to put him on there, but former Philly. Edgar Martinez for sure. Edgar Martinez. Now we need 2 more guys. Well, you don't need 2 more guys. You don't have to put all 10, but I just like to see. Let's see. 2 more guys that I can put on the ballot. Is there anyone close that I'm missing? Let me see. So I got Bonds. I think the only guy that's kind of close that I'm missing is Schilling. Oh, there's Manny Ramirez, though. Yeah, so I'm going to put Manny on there, because Manny is the homie. And now there's Schilling. Yeah, he's the closest one that I haven't put on there yet. I think I'm going to go with Larry Walker. So I think this is going to be my ballot for this year. And, if I was actually, doing this, seriously, I probably wouldn't put Moyer on there. But, this is my ballot for this year. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Vlad Guerrero, Trevor Hoffman, Chipper Jones, Edgar Martinez, Jamie Moyer, Mike Mussina, Manny Ramirez, and Larry Walker. So those are my votes for this year. So we're going to submit that ballot. And you see the voting will be announced on January 17th, 2018. So I'm going to cut out until we get news about the catchers. And even when we do get news about them, I think I'm actually just going to cut out until I make up the lineups and the pitching staff, the way it's going to look. So when that happens, I'll come back, show you guys what I'm thinking. And by that point, it should probably be around spring training. So we can get through that, hopefully injury-free, and go from there. All right, it is January 17th. Here are your Hall of Fame voting results. So Chipper Jones got in on his first year on the ballot. Hoffman got in on his third year. Guerrero's at 73.2% in only his second year, so he'll probably make it. If not next year, then definitely the following year. Barry Bonds at 67.4% in his sixth year, so it's getting kind of close. Clemens at 66.5%. Tomey's at 63.7% in his first year. Can't believe I forgot about him. But he's on the path to make it. If maybe not immediately, but he's on the path. Edgar Martinez 53.2% in his ninth year, so it doesn't seem like he's gonna make it. Moose is at 49.5% in his fifth year. Schilling dropped. Now he's at 37.8% in his sixth year. Jamie Moyer's still on. So looking at the guys that were dropped: Chris Carpenter, Kerry Wood, Javier Vasquez, Francisco Cordero, Carlos Zambrano, Kevin Millwood, Carlos Lee, Hideo Nomo, Denny Neagle, John Lieber, Andy Bennis, Levon Hernandez, Bob Wickman, Charles Inegi, Jason Isringhausen, Chan-Ho Park, and Delano DeShields. All dropped, so they will no longer be on the ballot. But now I'm just going to simulate up until the start of spring training and go from there. All right, so I just noticed this video is getting kind of long, so I think we're going to do spring training in the next episode. But one thing I wanted to check before the episode ended, I completely forgot about Tim Tebow here in the Mets organization, so I wanted to see how he was doing. And in his first year, he started at Double-A, surprisingly. He appeared in 28 games. He started 7 of them, and in 37 plate appearances, he had a whopping 206. He slashed 206, 250, 265. Oh, my goodness. No home runs. He had 2 doubles, 7 hits. He scored 4 runs. He struck out 8 times. He walked 2. 1-star potential. You see he has speed to him, but it does not look like he's ever going to reach the majors. Although, to be honest, at some point I might have to sign this guy just to get him in the major leagues, just for the heck of it, right? I think at some point I'm definitely going to do that. So scouting reports: a poor hitter, a minor leaguer at best. Should be a 220 contact hitter. He demonstrates moderate power, not surprisingly. Needs to develop discipline at the plate. Yes, he does. Will never be a smooth defender. Will have to work hard. He's an average runner at best, but he does have the heart of a lion, and ain't that the truth? So, having said that, this will be the end of episode number 6. I wanted to thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with episode number 7 when we will start the 2018 season. Not expecting a lot. If we took a look at the lineup I have devised, we have Revere leading off in left field, followed by Leonis Martin in right field, Desmond Jennings in center, Rowdy Tellez, our cleanup hitter, will be playing first base, Jordy Mercer will be playing shortstop, Micah Johnson will be playing second base, Rory Garcia will be playing third, and Martin Maldonado will be our catcher. So if nothing else, I think this is going to be a very good defensive team. But looking at our pitching rotation, we have Drew Smiley, Scott Kazmir, Eric Fetty. That was our Rule 5 pick, as you remember, Justin Nicolino, and Odrisamer Despain. Now, Wheeler will come into that eventually. I'm not sure when. It says he's going to be out for another 3 months, so it seems like he's going to be back in April. And now looking at our bullpen, Tazawa and Phelps are going to be our stoppers. Steckenrider, Dirks, Whitgreen, and eventually Ziegler will be our middle relief guys, and I'll keep in Cervenka there as our left-handed specialist. But that'll do it for episode number 6. Once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow with episode number 7. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.